Right, folks, Rich Van Tassel back with you, continuing on with our recap of Week 12's games. The my the Miami Dolphins, excuse me, getting a little tongue-tied, losing to the New England Patriots 35-17. New England quietly 9-2. Miami drops to 4-7. Matt Moore for the Dolphins 23 of 34, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Damian Williams top rusher 8 of 38, 4.8. Kenyon Drake 9 of 22.2. The team 19 of 67. 3.5 yards per rush. Jarvis Landry, 8 receptions, 70 yards. Julius Thomas, 5 of 52. Kenneth Stills, 3 of 47. Kenyon Drake, 3 of 27 and a touchdown. Rashad Jones recovered a fumble. Kenyon Drake lost a fumble. Jarvis Landry fumbled and recovered. 1 sack. It was Cameron Wake, still getting the job done. Want to point that out. Bobby McCain had an interception. Jakeem Grant, 4 kick returns, 97 yards. Longest of 28, 24.3 average. Pretty good. He had a punt return for no yards. Cody Parkey 1 for 1 in his field goals. Tom Brady, good as usual, I guess. Again, I guess this would, if you want to say he's below the baseline of greatness, it would be this game. 18 of 28, 227 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They won by 18 points. The numbers aren't gaudy, so I don't know. Again, we talk about the spikes he has from that baseline of greatness. He has those other games like he did last week. Would this drop below the baseline of greatness? I don't know. It's still good enough. Deion Lewis, 15 of 1, and by good enough, I mean close to good enough for Tom Brady's already great standards. Deion Lewis, 15 carries, 112 yards, 7.5 yards per rush. Rex Burkhead, 13 of 50, 3.8 per rush, 1 touchdown. Nate Ebner, 1 of 14. The team 38 of 196, 5.2 yards per rush. That includes 5 carries of -4 yards by Tom Brady. I'm sure some kneel downs. Brandon Cooks, 6 of 83, receiving 1 touchdown. Rob Gronkowski, 5 of 82, 2 touchdowns. Philip Dorsett, 1 of 39. Danny Amendola, 1 of 15. Rex Burkhead, 2 for 3, but he did have a touchdown. Patrick Chung recovered a fumble. Jonathan Jones recovered a fumble. Tom Brady fumbled twice, lost 1, recovered the other. Danny Amendola and Nate Ebner fumbled, and they were not lost. 7 sacks. Jonathan Jones, Kyle Vanoy, Eric Lee had 1. Trey Flowers and Landon Roberts had 2. Stephon Gilmore and Deron Harmon had an interception. Deion Lewis, 2 kick returns, 35 yards. Danny Amendola, 3 of 4. Returning punts, 3 punt returns for 4 yards. Steven Gostkowski did not attempt any field goals. Miami, I don't know if you'd say a disappointing year for them. They probably took advantage of a much softer schedule last year to get to the playoffs this year. Obviously, you lose Ryan Tannehill. The defense and offense have just been a little less than they were last year. For the Patriots, you remember when there was some discussion whether Buffalo would win this division and whether Tom Brady was done. Forget about it. This defense is coming along, and this is being the team that you were expecting to see all season long. The Carolina Panthers took care of the New York Jets 35-27. Carolina is now 8-3. The Jets dropped to 4-7. Cam Newton, 11 of 28, 168 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Did not play well at all. Christian McCaffrey, 7 carries, 62 yards, 8.9. Kalen Clay had a 29-yard rush. Cam Newton, 9 for 28, 3.11 touchdown. Jonathan Stewart, 15 of 26, 1.71 touchdown. An interesting 33 of 145 for 4.4 yards per rush. Those numbers look very good, but you had 24 carries for 54 yards between Jonathan Stewart and Cam Newton. It was the 7 for 62 by McCaffrey and the 1 of 29 by Kalen Clay that puts those numbers up there. So I don't know what you make of the run game in this one. I really don't. Devin Funchess, 7 receptions, 108 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 2 of 35. Ed Dixon, 1 of 15. That's receiving. Luke Kuechly recovered a fumble. I believe that was returned for a touchdown. Cam Newton fumbled, was not lost. Jonathan Stewart recovered a fumble. 3 sacks. Mario Edison, Julius Peppers, and Wes Horton. These sacks all came at the right time. No interceptions. Fozzie Whitaker, 2 kick returns, 49 yards. Kalen Clay, 3 punt returns for 73 yards. He had a 60-yard touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 2 of 22. So the special teams were not good for the Jets today. Graham Gano, 3 for 3 in his field goals for the Jets. Josh McCown, 19 of 36, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Bilal Powell, 9 carries, 34 yards, 3.8 yards per rush. Josh McCown, 2 of 28, 14 yards per rush. Matt Forte, 10 of 26, 2.6. The team, 26 of 109, 4.2 yards per rush. Robbie Anderson, 6 receptions, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jermaine Kearse, 7 of 105, a touchdown. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, 2 of 27. Elijah McGuire, 1 of 13. Josh McCown fumbled and lost it. JoJo Nansen fumbled and recovered. 3 sacks. Steve McClendon, Darren Lee, Demario Davis. Nice to see Darren Lee get a sack. That's a guy they really need to play much better. 2 kick returns for 52 yards by JoJo Nansen. He had 4 punt returns for 7 yards. Chandler Quintero 2 for 2 in his field goals. Up and down game. Both teams were going both ways. Carolina is 5-1 on the road, however. Some defensive plays broke the game open. And, of course, I can't remember if that Kuechly touchdown was called back on the fumble return. But you had the punt return as well. So those things put the game in Carolina's favor, obviously. Tough for the Jets. Look, Josh McCown, bless his heart, but he's just not talented enough to take a less talented team. And frankly, she probably shouldn't have taken him this far to begin with. Carolina is really looking good as well. We can talk all day about the Saints who did lose. The Falcons certainly coming on. Carolina is flying very much under the radar, and I expected a bounce back here from them. Tennessee 20-16 over the Indianapolis Colts. Tennessee is now 7-4. Indianapolis drops to 3-8. Marcus Mariota 17 of 25, 184 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Derrick Henry 13 carries, 79 yards, 6.1. DeMarco Murray was held in check, 12 of 9. That's 0.8 of a yard per rush. He did have a touchdown though. 28 of 92, 3.3 yards per rush. Delaney Walker, top receiver, 4 of 63. Corey Davis, 4 of 39. DeMarco Murray, 3 of 33. Eric Decker, 3 of 23. Kelvin Byrd recovered a fumble. The team had 8 sacks. 1.5 by Arakpo, half by Jayon Brown. Eric Walden, Derek Morgan, Wesley Woodyard, Avery Williamson all had sacks. Daquan Jones had 2. Shows the level of play you're getting from the Indianapolis offensive line. No interceptions. Adoree Jackson, 15-yard kick return, 2 punt returns for 7 yards by Adoree Jackson. Ryan Suckup 2 for 2 in his field goals. For the Colts, Jacoby Brissett, 17 of 29, 196 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Frank Gore, 17 carries, 62 yards, 3.6 per rush, 1 touchdown. Jacoby Brissett, 3 of 16, 5.3. The team, 24 of 89, 3.7 yards per rush. Jack Doyle, 7 receptions, 94 yards. Chester Rogers, 3 of 34. Marlon Mack, 2 of 20. Jacoby Brissett fumbled twice, lost one of them, recovered the other. No sacks. Nate Hairston, Rashawn Melvin had interceptions. No kick returns. 1 punt return, no yards by Chester Rogers. Adam Vinatieri, 3 for 3 in his field goals. Tennessee, their offense has still got to play better. You know, they really drafted Corey Davis high. He's been injured. They need him to come along. They also need to get more from DeMarco Murray. It's not to say that they haven't gotten a lot from him. He's played well this year. But, you know, all in all, when you're having these two guys play as well together as they did today, you need this to have happen for them to win some serious games late in the year. All right, we got one more here for you. San Francisco 49ers got beat by the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is now 7-4, is 24-13. San Francisco 1-10. Russell Wilson 20 of 34, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Eddie Lacy 17 carries, 46 yards, 2.7. Russell Wilson 7 of 25, 3.6 with a touchdown. J.D. McKissick 4 of 22, 5.5 yards per rush. Paul Richardson, the team 30 of 90, 3 yards per rush. Paul Richardson, top receiver, 4 of 70. Jimmy Graham, 3 of 34. Tanner McAvoy, 2 of 31. Nick Vannett, 2 of 29. Jimmy Graham and Vannett had touchdowns. Russell Wilson fumbled once, recovered it. 3 sacks. Brandon Jackson, Frank Clark split. Marcus Smith, the second. Michael Bennett had a sack each. Bobby Wagner, 1 interception. Tyler Lockett, 26-yard kick return. Nick Vannett, a kick return of no yards. Tyler Lockett, 2 of 7. Blair Walsh, 1 for 2 in his field goals. That was Lockett, 2 for 7 in the punt returns. For the 49ers, C.J. Beathard did get the start, 22 of 38, 201 yards, no touchdown, 1 interception. Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 of 2, 18 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I'll just comment on that now. If you're going to dress Jimmy Garoppolo, just play him. If he's not dressed, then I understand you don't play the guy, but you don't have him as a backup. I guess it's nice to have him come in, get a few reps here, but if he's playing, just start him. Carlos Hyde, 16 carries, 47 yards, 2.9 yards per rush. C.J. Beathard, 6 for 21, 3.5. The team, 24 of 84, 3.5 yards per rush. Marquise Goodwin, 4 of 78. Trent Taylor, 2 of 35. Kendrick Bourne, 2 of 22. Carlos Hyde, 7 of 21. Lewis Murphy, 2 of 14 with a touchdown receiving. C.J. Beathard fumbled and recovered. No sacks. Eric Reed had an interception. No kick returns. Trent Taylor, 2 punt returns, 17 yards. Robbie Gould, 2 for 2 in his field goals. Seattle, look, they beat a bad 49ers team today. And, the 49ers, they are coached well. They're just devoid of talent. They're not like the Cleveland Browns where they're just completely inept. So I don't mean to say bad as like terrible, but they're still a bad team. Seattle was able to get the 24-13 victory. Seattle has to run the ball better, and it's really all come down to that at this point. You can't continue to run the ball as poorly as they have all season and expect to win games in the playoffs and beyond, as this team would like to do. For the San Francisco 49ers, I'd like to see what happens with Garoppolo if they move to him as the full-time starter from here out. Again, if he's dressing, to me, it does not make much sense to not start the guy. All right, we'll be back in a little bit to finish up the game recaps for Week 12 of the NFL season. Thank you.